Let's go to Canberra now and bring in a Liberal Senator for Victoria, Sarah Henderson. Good to talk to you, Sarah. It's been a strange old day. You've had a virtual PM beamed into question time. You've had the Deputy Prime Minister axed from his job and a new Deputy Prime Minister voted in. But you've had the old Deputy Prime Minister, even though he's been axed from his job, acting as acting Prime Minister in the Parliament. Is it a little bit embarrassing to be a Coalition MP today?
Well, Chris, good afternoon, and no, not at all. And our focus, as always, is on the health and economic recovery of Australia. That's very much our focus. And as we drive down unemployment, as we deliver record jobs, we've now got a stronger economy than before the pandemic began. Of course, we've now hit something like 6.5 million vaccinations. So we've got a very big job to do together, the Nationals and the Liberals, and that very important work will continue.
Yeah, but you're a coalition government and you have a coalition partner that's been in disarray. You can't tell me tonight who's going to be Agriculture Minister tomorrow, who's going to have resources. You don't even know the makeup of your own cabinet any longer. You have to wait to see what the Nationals sort out tomorrow. Isn't that right?
Well, absolutely, Chris, and that's the way we work. And the Nationals have governance of some of the cabinet positions, and that will be obviously finalised very, very quickly. That's business as usual when there is a change of leader.
Do you know then what your coalition partner's policy is on net zero emissions by 2050?
Well, Chris, what's important is that our government is continuing to drive down emissions and deliver record investment in renewables whilst ensuring that we don't damage jobs or damage the economy. And as the Prime Minister has made very clear, we want to get to a net zero emissions as a preference if we can. But like what the Nationals have been saying, we're not going to do this if it costs industries, if it costs jobs, if it costs regional communities. So I think there's more alignment there than perhaps some commentators are suggesting.
Yeah, I think that word preferable is pretty key in the Prime Minister's lexicon. A lot of commentators are saying because of Barnaby Joyce's history, he'll have a problem with female voters. Do you think that the Coalition could wear some pain in that direction? What do you think of his past and the way it's impacted on his political persona?
Oh, look, Chris, I'm not going to be running any sort of commentary on my colleagues other than to say we will continue to work very hard as a strong team, in contrast to a lot of the division that we see from Labor. As I say, Chris, we are focused very firmly on Australia's health recovery and on Australia's economic recovery. That is the job Australians expect us to do, and that is what we are doing.
Do you think it's a good thing that Barnaby Joyce is back as Deputy Prime Minister?
Look, these are matters for the National Party. I'm not going to comment on the change of leadership. That is beyond my core business as a Liberal senator, other than to say I am a regional senator for Victoria and doing a lot of work in the regions, as many of my Liberal colleagues are. So together we back regional communities, not just the Nationals, but obviously these are matters for the National Party. There has been a change of leader, and we will continue, Chris, to focus on what Australians expect us to do, and that is our health and economic recovery.
So why wouldn't you welcome the return of such an experienced man who's been Deputy Prime Minister before?
Look, I had a very good working relationship with both Michael McCormack and Barnaby Joyce, and that will continue. I'm a Liberal backbencher in Victoria, standing up for regional Victoria in particular, where I am based. But as I say, Chris, I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of personalities other than to say we will continue to work very hard as a government. Yes, of course, it's been a bit of a rocky day for the Nationals. These things are never easy when you do have a change of leadership. But Australians expect us to continue to get on with the job, and that's what we're doing.
All right, just a couple of other points. You and some of your colleagues have expressed concerns about the Port of Newcastle being 50% in the hands of Chinese interests. What can the government do to either unpick that or keep a very close eye on what goes on?
Well, Chris, yes, I've joined a number of my colleagues, led by Senator Abetz, in raising concerns that the Port of Newcastle has not been declared a monopoly under the national access regime. And of course, Rod Sims, the chair of the ACCC, has raised some concerns about this. There's no so-called regulatory oversight in the event of a dispute. And because this is a half Chinese-owned port, we want to make sure that Australia's sovereignty and Australia's interests are foremost. And if there is any dispute, coal exporters are not placed in peril. And so we do think that there needs to be tougher laws to ensure that the ACCC can intervene if necessary.
All right, we'll have a look at that in some more detail later in the program, but thanks for joining us, Sarah. I appreciate it.
Great to talk to you as always, Chris.
Sarah Henderson there, a Liberal Senator for Victoria.